Awesome. Hey, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners. Hey, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners. Altovise here, your host of the hashtag SpeakEasy Podcast. Oh my goodness. So I'm excited about this episode because listen, it's all about the love potion. One of the things that I have to say before we even get into today's topic is that as an entrepreneur, there have been so many things that I have put on the back burner in those first 5 years of business that I am now looking at and going, I don't understand why I put those things aside. But I'm glad that I went back and started caring more about those things. And you'll understand a little bit more as we dig into today's topic and with my special guest for today. Hello, Lillian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hello from Australia.
Yay. So I am excited about this episode. Lillian, tell the SpeakEasy Podcast listeners a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Um, well, I was born in Russia, migrated to Australia 40 plus years ago. But it's not what you would like to hear. You would like to hear about aphrodisiacs and how it fell in my hands. Once upon a time, my husband took me to celebrate our wedding anniversary, and as a normal man, he looked after his own needs and went to old bookstore instead of courting me there. It was in France, in Paris, would you believe? Well, as a result, he got a book which changed my life. It was an old Decameron, 13th century novels, erotic novels. When he was trying to fix the cover that was falling apart, the page fell out. And that page contained a love potion recipe that called Aphrodisiac, and contained only recipe like 18 botanicals that were going into that potion. We decided to make it. So on our return home, my husband set up lab and tried to source all the ingredients. But because we couldn't find ingredients, we decided to go to different countries of the world where they grow in the wild and find them at their full strength. And that's what we did for the next 25 plus years. To cut the story short, we did find all the ingredients and made the love potion recipe, which I turned into multi-million-dollar business. We do have a distillery that produces that particular, we call it liqueur, Aphrodisiac. But that's not the whole story. Aphrodisiac is actually a very potent thing that actually stimulates creativity, stimulates emotional, physical, and mental state of a person. And if you look at the crowd and see all people, some people stand out. They are the leaders. They are the business people. They are the ones that make it happen. And what actually makes them different to anyone else is their charisma and ability to make right decision, clarity of their decision-making processes. And that's what aphrodisiacs do. They are natural stimulants, which are the food of your sexuality, food of your well-being. Sexuality cannot exist if you have either mental, physical, or emotional disbalance. It needs to be three, that perfect trio that creates sexual energy. So to answer your question, I think who I am the aphrodisiacs expert. I am the one who enjoyed experiences all over the world. I've been to over 180 countries, and I've seen it all. I would like to share my knowledge that I gained from native people, from people that use those recipes that they contained in their families for hundreds of years. They do work, not like your magic potion that, will attract someone or seduce someone. But it's like something like your remedy. And most of those things you probably already use and they're in your pantry. It's not just food or drinks, it's other things that actually influence our feelings, which produce our sensors, let's say, that actually contact our brain, and that brain actually commands our glands to produce certain chemicals that make us either feel good or produce hormones and other things. And so that's where I'm coming from. And if you're interested, I'm only happy to help.
I love this. SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, so let me tell you why this episode is like giving me all of the feels. It was maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even a little longer, when I started using essential oils. And we stopped using, first and foremost, we don't do a whole bunch of pills and all these different medications and things like that in my home. And so we would go and we would get essential oils. I had the diffuser, and man, there was such a huge shift when I started to look into what that meant. The actual properties of them, why certain grades of essential oils were better than others. And so all of these things, as an entrepreneur, it wasn't because I wanted to sell them, but it was because I needed to make sure, for one, that I had a creative space. And then also, I had to make sure that I had a regimen to kind of be able to shift from home to business, even though I worked at home. So I love that you shared that. And first of all, your story is absolutely phenomenal, Lillian, because I don't know if we should give your husband a high five and a hug or for getting the book, but that's, man, just to think what one simple act, how it can heavily impact the future of what we do, where we go. That is phenomenal. And so, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, I know you may have thought that when we said, aphrodisiac and love potion and all of those things, that we were talking about relationships. Well, it goes a lot deeper than that. And so, Lillian, explain why it goes a little deeper than just the relationships that we have.
Absolutely. Our sexuality, well, we're all sexual creatures to start with. And aphrodisiacs is not about sex. It's about well-being in general, which affects everything what we do, our personalities, our behavior, our decision-making processes, our way we live, choices we make, and of course, our relationship. A lot of people don't realize how important their sexuality is. And it's not act of sex. It's your ability to live your life to the fullest, to have that charisma, to have that drive that would wake you up in the morning and you would smile and say, oh, it's another day, it's beautiful, let me look my best. Not because you want to attract another lover, but because you want to feel good about yourself. And that feeling actually makes you who you are. A lot of people substitute a real health by going to plastic surgery or liposuction or using excessive amounts of cosmetics or hairdressers or whatever. But the real thing is there. Just all you need to do is look after yourself. and know how to use natural stimulants. And I'm not talking about illegal things or your schablon things like oysters, strawberries, and champagne. I'm talking about herbs and natural oils, of course. Do you know that we have in our nostrils a new organ that was discovered in late 1900s? It's new, it's VNO. It is little slits in our nostrils that actually detect pheromones. It's not our nose that detects it, but those little slits. And what pheromones are, they are the carriers of your DNA. We detect as human beings whom we are dealing with, and unconsciously we select a right partner to reproduce, to make healthy children. And of course, aphrodisiacs, it's fun because they were used through thousands of years, and they do work. Well, whatever didn't work is not in existence anymore. Well, there are some fairy tales about rhinoceros horns, which is a pity, or whatever the flying foxes pose, and which is not true. There are some dangerous ones, and there are some anti-aphrodisiacs. There are things like lettuce, camphor, alcohol, tobacco that actually work in reverse. Alcohol is interesting. In small dosages, if you have one drink or 1.5 standard drinks, they actually work as aphrodisiacs, they excite. Should you have more than that, they actually work in reverse and they suppress your sexual drive. The same with tobacco. You can enjoy a little bit, but you shouldn't if you have problems with lungs, or if you are doing it as addiction. It would kill your sexuality.
Oh man, it's guys, I want you guys to listen in and even replay this episode, because again, when we think about the journey as an entrepreneur, it's so much more than just the business side of things. It's the relationships that we build in the business, but it's also our personal lives. I know we often try to separate the two, right? But there are many times where they definitely intertwine with one another. And, if you are not at your peak when, in your personal life, then it definitely will heavily affect how you work and how you interact with people, and, the opportunities that you're going to be able to attract, as opposed to those who are at their best. And this has always been, and I love that you stated that this, as you were traveling, that these were remedies and recipes that were handed down from generation to generation. And we think about it because these were remedies to help us that were handed down from generation to generation. But so many of us deal with unhealthy recipes that we pass down from generation to generation. So being able to make that shift is a very powerful one. With that being said, what was your favorite place that you traveled to for one of the ingredients or one of these recipes?
Oh, there are so many beautiful places on this planet. It's the most difficult question you can ask, Altovise. Every country offers something unique, something different. And I have to say, all over the world, people are beautiful. It's politics that make us don't want not liking one or the other country, but people are beautiful. We all, regardless of our backgrounds, religion, color, facial features, or whatever, we all want the same. We want happiness in our life, and we would like to be successful and healthy and live long lives. We would like to see our children grow. And well, I never met a person anywhere on this planet, and I did travel, as I mentioned, to over 180 countries, that wasn't interested in aphrodisiacs, because aphrodisiacs, it's something that can give people what they want, health, longevity, and pleasures. Well, I can tell you an interesting story about essential oils, because you are into essential oils. So was Josephine, Napoleon's Josephine, and she used musk oil. Yes, musk comes from the glands of an animal, but it's very powerful and sexy smell. Well, some people like it, many people don't, but in any case, it does stay in the memory of a person for a long time. It has that kind of chemical concoction in it. So Josephine used musk oil to excite Napoleon. When he decided to divorce her and marry somebody else who could produce children, because Josephine was older than him and couldn't have children anymore, she spilled her musk oil all over wooden parts of the bedroom suite. And when she left, this smell stayed there for many years to come. And well, Napoleon wasn't able to perform in that particular bedroom with a new woman. There you go. The power of pheromones, the power of essential oils.
Yes, indeed. SpeakEasy podcast listeners, this has been an amazing episode. I am loving every bit of this. Lillian, let them know how they can get their own love potion, as well as how they can get the book and find you online.
It's not love potion, it is liqueur. It's Aphrodope, APHRODOPE, Aphrodope. It's only sold online. We are not after huge sales, but it does work, and people who enjoy it will write to us, and that's the best reward we get. I also wrote a book while it was pandemic about few travels, and it's called Aphrodisiac-Adventures. It's available on Amazon, and it's a fun book with recipes, with things I've seen, with some historical humor stories. Please enjoy it. Well, if you would like to talk to me or ask a question, I would be most pleased to answer questions and in person contact you. Just write to me on my website, which is aphrodisiacs-expert.com.
Awesome. Guys, this is your opportunity. Make sure that you, again, if you heard something that you liked in this episode, let us know by leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. We want to hear from you. Go back, take some notes, but also make sure that you go and get the book. Guys, this is all for you, because without you, there would be no SpeakEasy Podcast. So as your host, Altovise, your voice manager, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.